One, provide details on the state of security in this country, including steps being taken by the ministry to avert death and destruction of property, especially during demonstrations. Number two, to outline actions being taken to forestall the destruction of property and death during demonstrations. And three, indicate when the government will apprehend the culprit or culprits responsible for financing and mobilizing of demonstrations that led to deaths and destruction of property, especially on the 25th of June 2025 and the 7th of July 2025.
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first let me start by apologizing for being unable to attend the last two sessions as per your invitation, and thank the House for the indulgence for allowing me to attend to the other national security duties, including an engagement that involved the President of Uganda, which ensured that we were unable to be here as requested. So, Mr. Speaker, you know that anytime I'm invited to come to the House, I take great joy and appreciation, and I have great support for this august House and utmost respect for its duties and my responsibilities to appear before you. So, Mr.
Apology
Speaker,
taken. Now answer the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the question raised by the Honorable Kimani Kuria, part one is on the state of security in the country, including steps being taken by the National Police Service to avert death and destruction of property during demonstrations. Honorable Speaker, since last year, the country has witnessed a series of protests across various counties following calls for anti-finance bill demonstrations, which culminated in the protests of the 25th June 2024 and resulted in unfortunate fatalities and destruction of property. In 2025, despite a general return to normalcy, political actors renewed online mobilization efforts calling for fresh demonstrations. Mobilizations was largely conducted through social media platforms using hashtags, Mr. Speaker, such as Occupy State House, Occupy Everywhere, Syrian in numbers, 77 in numbers, among others. Despite advice by police commanders, no prior notification was submitted to the police by the organizers as required by law. Consequently, the National Police Service only became aware of the planned protest through media, prompting the police to prepare the necessary security plans to maintain public safety and restore order. In other cases, some organizers assured security agencies that the demonstration would be peaceful. However, Mr. Speaker, contrary to these utterances and assurances, the protests quickly escalated into chaos and violence, culminating in incidences of looting, arson, and widespread destruction of public and private property. The protests were further characterized by widespread acts of lawlessness, which led to torching of 9 police stations and posts, Deputy County Commissioner's office, and court buildings. In addition, numerous supermarkets and private business premises were vandalized and looted, resulting in significant economic losses and disruption of essential services. In particular, Mr. Speaker, during Sabasaba demonstrations, 25 lives were lost, with 45 civilians and 170 police officers injured. Key among the government offices and premises that were damaged in the 2 demonstrations include the Assistant Chief's Office, Molo Ward Administrator Office, and Molo Railway Station, Nakuru County, Office of the Women Representative in Kisii County, NCPB Sagana Administration Block. And on 25th June, Mr. Speaker, we regrettably lost lives, and close to 600 others were injured, including 496 law enforcement officers. Public facilities also bore the brunt of the destruction, including Dagoretti Police Post, where the criminals stole guns and razed residential buildings housing the police families. In Kikuyu, a mob attacked government offices, torching Kikuyu Police Station, the sub-county headquarters, National Registration Bureau offices, county government offices, Assistant Chief's Office, the Kenya Forest Service Office, Kikuyu Law Courts, as well as Dagoretti Police Post and police lines. They also partially destroyed the Kikuyu Sub-County Probation Office and damaged 4 motor vehicles belonging to Dagoretti Police Post, including that of other officer in charge. Other property destroyed in the Dagoretti Police Post, Mr. Speaker, includes 3 Probox vehicles, 1 double cabin, county government vehicle, a school bus, and 14-seater matatu that were parked within the police station. 5 guns were also stolen in Dagoretti Police Post, as I said. Another 4 firearms were burned in Gashui Police Post. One of the guns stolen in Dagoretti on 25th of June was used to commit robbery in Naivasha the following day. Further, on June 25th, a rowdy group of youth attacked Matu Police Station, leaving 8 officers injured and several government vehicles damaged. The building housing the station was also destroyed. 18 suspects were charged in connection with this particular attack. In Machakos County, Mr. Speaker, 66 suspects linked to the torching of a gas tanker along Kitui Road on 7th July were arrested and charged. In another attack, arsonists invaded and burned Olkalau Police Station along, Mr. Speaker, killing 3 suspects who were in custody. They also torched 26 vehicles, 18 county government motorbikes, burned down an exhibit store, and destroyed a reporting office. In Nakuru County, Mr. Speaker, Viwandani patrol base in Naivasha was burnt while firearm loaded with 20 rounds of ammunition was snatched by criminals at Shauri Moyo. Several other security installations across the country were attacked, leaving citizens exposed. A total of 16 police stations and posts were either burned or destroyed, and on the 2 days of terror. In Naivasha, Nakuru County, goons looted stock from Naivas, Power Star, and Ketia Supermarket, and thereafter set ablaze Power Star Supermarket. A total of 100 people were arrested and charged with various crimes in relation to these acts of criminality. In Ruiru, Mr. Speaker, within Kiambu County, a similar fate befell Quickmart and Carrefour supermarkets, where goons stole property worth millions of shillings after breaking windows and destroying CCTV cameras in the establishments. A total of 86 arrests were made in relation to the crimes committed on various charges were preferred. Naivas supermarket within Nyeri town was also broken into, and goods worth millions of shillings carted away. 21 suspects have been arrested in connection with this crime. On the same day, a group of rioters invaded Mountain Mall within Kasarani area in Nairobi County, where they looted goods from Naivas supermarket and other shops and the mall. 3 suspects were arrested and arraigned accordingly. At Kidurai 44 area, another set of criminals invaded Kismat supermarket. In Eldoret, goons broke into Ketia supermarket and stole goods worth millions of shillings. 12 suspects were arrested and arraigned in court. In Meru, a group of thugs set ablaze Muguna supermarket using suspected petrol bombs. The criminal elements also stole alcoholic drinks from 7-Eleven bar. Selenite supermarket was not spared the looting and mayhem. 40 suspects were arrested in Meru in relation with these criminal acts. In Kirinyaga County, 21 suspects linked to the looting at Nice supermarket in Muya town were arraigned. Gangs also torched the Kirinyaga Central NGCDF office, leading to the arrest and arraignment of 4 suspects. In Kikumo town, mobs broke into county supermarket and stole goods worth millions of shillings. 2 suspects were arrested and arraigned in connection with this incident. In another incident, Mr. Speaker, marauding gangs stormed the operating theater of the Kitengela Sub-County Hospital, interrupting an emergency cesarean section and terrorizing patients and medical staff. 2 suspects were arrested and arraigned in court. Evidently, all these events were well orchestrated and coordinated by certain actors with the intention of inciting unrest, destabilizing public order, and undermining national stability. In light of this evolving landscape of demonstrations, and more so the violent nature of the protests that proved to be a threat to national security, the National Police Service being constitutionally mandated to enforce law and order, Mr. Speaker, responded by implementing measures to forestall violence and violence and damage to property. The role of police in managing demonstrations is guided by the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, the Public Order Act, Cap 56, and the National Police Service Act of 2011. Article 37 of the Constitution of Kenya provided everyone has a right to assemble, to demonstrate, picket, present petition to public authorities peacefully and unarmed. However, this right is not absolute and is subject to limitations provided for under Article 24 of the Constitution, which permits reasonable and justifiable limitation in a democratic society, e.g. to protect public order, public safety, and rights of others. The Public Order Act also provides the same, Mr. Speaker. And I have reproduced, Mr. Speaker, at length the various provisions of the Public Order Act, and I don't wish to read any further. The statement will be circulated, Mr. Speaker, which includes what of importance is the members of public are required to provide and present a notification to police officers at least 3 days before any such demonstrations. Mr. Speaker, at least 3 days, but not more than 14 days before the event. And Mr. Speaker, that must be in writing, who is coming to protest, the names, the estimated number, the routes, and so forth, Mr. Speaker. And the police may acknowledge the same. And this is not done so that we can give the right to demonstrations, basically, to ensure that the police officers are prepared to provide security during such demonstrations. So on part 2 of the question, Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member would like to know on the actions being taken to forestall the destruction of property and death during demonstrations. And Mr. Speaker, the Ministry remains steadfast in this commitment to safeguard lives and property during demonstrations through the following measures. Number 1, intensified both mobile and foot patrols in targeted areas to enhance visibility, deter criminal elements, and detect early signs of unrest. 2, intensified efforts to lobby for more budgetary allocation from the National Treasury to meet its logistical and operational requirements, hence rapid deployment capabilities during demonstrations. Number 3, embraced modern policing technologies such as CCTV surveillance, drone monitoring, digital communication systems, and incident mapping tools to monitor crowds, track threats in a real time, and coordinate timely intervention, ultimately enhancing the effectiveness of law enforcement during protests. 4, leverage on real-time intelligence, informer networks, and surveillance tools to identify planned disturbances and criminal elements before they mobilize. 5, engage with community leaders, civil society, and Nyumba Kumi clusters to help gather early warning information and promote peaceful resolution before protests escalate. And finally, Mr. Speaker, issue advanced public advisories and engage through media to encourage peaceful demonstrations and warn against unlawful activities. Mr. Speaker, in addition to that, as a deterrent measure, also arresting and prosecuting perpetrators in good time is extremely important in forestalling a repeat of same incidences. The next part is the Honourable Member would like to know when the government will apprehend the culprits responsible for financing and mobilizing during demonstrations that led to the destruction of property. And July 7th this year. Mr. Speaker, the National Police Service initiated investigations into a range of offences committed during the recent demonstrations. The investigations aim to identify individuals who loss of lives and injuries to civilians and police officers. In the course of these investigations, the service has obtained several financial statements and data linked to persons of interest, which are currently undergoing forensic analysis. Additionally, information relating to the registration particulars of companies, non-governmental organizations, and societies believed to have played roles, and non-governmental organizations and societies which are believed to have played a role in facilitating the protest has been acquired. The National Police Service is working in close collaboration with various government agencies and stakeholders to expedite investigations. These include the National Transport and Safety Authority, the National Registration Bureau, the Communication Authority, the National Intelligence Service, the Registrar of Companies, the Financial Reporting Center. So far, preliminary analysis of this evidence gathered have led to the identification of several persons of interest believed to have participated in illegal acts during demonstrations and those linked to the funding and mobilization of the demonstrators. About 1,500 people have been arrested countrywide and are facing various charges including terrorism, murder, robbery with violence, sexual assault, arson, malicious damage to property, and targeted attacks on strategic infrastructure. The police have also arrested and arraigned 15 individuals across the country associated with the planning and mobilization and have since been charged with various offenses, including offenses under the Prevention of Terrorism Act, unlawful assembly, participation in unauthorized demonstrations, incitement to violence, organizing unlawful protest, destruction of public property, arson, malicious damage to property, aiding and abetting unlawful acts, unlawful possession of ammunition, unlawful possession of tear gas canisters. Investigation to identify additional financiers and mobilizers of the protest and arraign them before the court are ongoing. I submit, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I submit.
Yes, the first shot goes to the questioner. Kimani, you are satisfied? If you are, we give way to somebody else.
I think the statement is quite comprehensive, but we really urge the National Police Service to make sure there is protection of lives and property. The rights of protesters should be protected, but so should the rights of the other citizens. And this issue of attacking people, their persons, their personal property because of a national matter must really come to an end. It's very, very unfortunate, and we are hoping that the minister will put all effort necessary to make sure, yes, as much as the rights of the protesters are protected, the properties and the rights of other citizens are protected as well. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Robert Mbui, let me have Robert Mbui before I come to you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do sympathize, of course, with the rights of people being trampled on and the property that is destroyed. But, Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask the CS, because he's been on record on these matters, how will you deal with the police officers that would shoot demonstrators when it is on record that none other than the President, yourself, and a high-ranking member of this House have actually given instructions, shoot on sight, to our police officers?
KJ.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you. And I must commend Waziri for the response that he's made to the House. And Mr. Speaker, allow me, we might not be, as a country, we should not be like the warthog to forget too quickly. I think there is commendation that needs to go to Waziri, being the most immediate former Minister for Sports, for being able to play a part in delivering CHAN, in delivering the elections at FKF, getting us a good team, and the results that we are seeing. Waziri, you deserve some accolades for the work you did in your short stint as Minister for Sports. We are seeing the results. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, as Waziri has indicated, Dagoretti South constituency received a disproportionately higher share of the violence, especially on the 25th of June last year, 25th of June this year, and on the 7th, Sabasaba, and in part because being in Nairobi, when there are protests in the city, some of our officers are deployed in the city center and some of our institutions are left exposed. But Mr. Speaker, I want to commend Waziri because immediately on the following day, he was in Dagoretti, he was on the ground, he made responses, and my question is in two parts. My question is, would Waziri tell us what it shall take for us to get officers at Mudhoa Police Station? Mudhoa Police Station is not too far away from Dagoretti Police Station. Dagoretti Police Station carries our name, but administratively it is in Kikuyu. However, in the absence of Kengongo, which we call Dagoretti Police Station, that whole area now is totally exposed. But the people of the area have given land. The constituency, through NGCDF, has already constructed a police post as Mudhoa. These police posts would serve as a good center for security officers if only some officers would be deployed to the Mudhoa police station and a beefing up of Matini Police Station. So, Mr. Speaker, because the stations are already complete, I just need to know from Waziri, what shall it take to have police officers deployed to Mudhoa Police Station, and the beefing up of police officers and police equipment like cars to Matini Police Station? I really thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to joyride on this question. Thank you very much.
Minister. Hold, Minister, hold. Mkunji.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I'm one of those people that were arrested during Sabasaba. And Honorable Speaker, I was on my way, trying to make my way through Thika Road. And police officers, close to 40 of them, from nowhere came, arrested me without telling me exactly what I have done. They intimidated me, took me to a police station in Gatundu, and without even writing anything in the OB, Honorable Speaker, I was put in a cell alone. Anybody who came inside to ask whether I'm in that place, Honorable Speaker, was told I'm not around. And it's until around 7 p.m. when I heard people shouting outside that, Honorable Speaker, I shouted from the cell to say, Honorable Speaker, that I'm in that police station without knowing exactly what has been written. Honorable Speaker, I have listened to the CS. And Honorable Speaker, I feel sad because while a statement...
Ask him a question.
Yes, while a
It's question
statement
time.
is talking of some sort of hard work he is doing, there is a use of this issue of demonstrations to fight against some political opponent. Honorable Speaker, I want to ask Waziri to be genuine on matters to do with fighting criminals. And Honorable Speaker, I want you to know, I want to actually Waziri to tell me under what circumstance are people who are found in demonstrations, and it happens that during demonstrations there happens to be destruction of property, and I'm not void to say pole to anybody who has lost property during this time. But, Honorable Speaker, there is a squeeze and a push on intimidation.
You are making a statement instead of asking a question. This is question
I'm
time.
getting to the question, Honorable
I've
Speaker.
given you time to ask him a question.
I want to ask Waziri whether, while he is giving statistics, and I have seen many young people in Kahawa being charged with terrorism. Of course, that is a case that is under court and cannot be discussed. But, Honorable Speaker, I want to ask, is he genuine to actually push for such enormous charges? Charges that we know, Honorable Speaker, are charged to people like Osama bin Laden, Honorable Speaker,
Osama bin Laden
was
never charged anywhere.
But he is a terrorist, we know that, and Al-Shabaab and other
We
people.
have no evidence.
Kahawa Law Court is known to be a special court.
Yes.
When you're taken there, Honorable Speaker, it means you are either being charged with terrorism or drug trafficking, Honorable Speaker. I want to ask Waziri to be genuine and make sure that while he is fighting on these matters to do with clear demonstrations and clean demonstrations, he is not using it against political opponents, and he is not being misused to fight political opponent, Honorable Speaker.
Minister, you can answer that now.
Mr. Speaker, let me first start by appreciating the questions raised and thank Honorable Kimani for reiterating that we must put a lot of effort to protect both protesters and those who do not want to engage in protest by ensuring that their properties are safe. Mr. Speaker, sorry, I'm trying to open a document somewhere, but I'll come to that later. Mr. Speaker, on the question of, and therefore I take the comment from the Honorable Kimani very seriously. Number two is, Mr. Speaker, yes, I'm now there. The Speaker, on the how do you deal with police officers who shoot and kill people, as Honorable Robert Mbui has raised? And first of all, let me say that the Constitution and the law provides for instances of limitation of the right to life. And Mr. Speaker, it's very clear from the Constitution and also from the law. I issued a directive to the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Speaker, my first of that kind, which is the directive, Mr. Speaker, I was trying to look for, which is a policy directive number 1 of 2015 on the use of force and the use of firearm. Mr. Speaker, in this directive, I made it clear in writing to reiterate what I verbally pronounced when I was in Kikuyu, that police officers have a right to protect themselves when their lives are in danger, or when the life of any citizen of this country is in danger. Mr. Speaker, I also explained how they can use force, why they must not use excessive force where there is no danger to life. And I further also explained, Mr. Speaker, what measures we should take, National Police Service should take in this directive to the Inspector General of Police, which include, Mr. Speaker, deploying only officers that are mentally sound, that, Mr. Speaker, are not undergoing any stressful incidences or may have mental health challenges. I also said, Mr. Speaker, protective gear must be given to police officers. Further, I also explained that it is necessary for the National Police Service working together with the Attorney General to ensure that they protect police officers who may be sued or investigated, Mr. Speaker, as a result of protecting themselves or protecting their lives. Mr. Speaker, we have commenced that process, and all the police officers who are facing investigations and were charged for using force or firearm while they were performing their lawful duties, Mr. Speaker, now have a right to be represented by the Attorney General or lawyers from the National Police Service. Mr. Speaker, therefore, I made the statement consciously, knowing that the responsibility to hold police officers accountable is with the IPOA, and this is the ministry that has a policy responsibility to ensure that police officers are responsible. In our Jukwaa la Usalama forum, where we have been meeting all the OCSs in every county, and the sub-county commanders and the county commanders and county security teams, I have also made it clear that the police officers should be respectful to the people of Kenya, should not apply excessive force, and they should protect themselves, Mr. Speaker, when their lives are in danger. I know this conversation is at the context of a peaceful environment, or rather peaceful areas like Nairobi and other parts. But when I went to places like Samburu, Tana River, Turkana, Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo, this conversation changes, because the life-threatening environment that the police officers operate, Mr. Speaker, suddenly the use of force becomes something else, especially if you are in the border of Kitui and Tana River and you're facing serious acts of banditry with very armed characters invading police stations and targeting civilians. You quickly see, even political leaders, their perspective of use of force changes quickly when you take them to Malaso Valley or La Pendera or other parts of this country. So, Mr. Speaker, the directive I gave is uniform. It's not just for protests, it's for all instances that police may face that situation. So, to Honorable Mbui, I am very conscious. As a lawyer, I'm very aware of my constitutional responsibilities, and I made sure that I put it in writing so that any citizen that wants to hold me accountable or before a court of law or parliament can pick the policy directive and quickly, Mr. Speaker, hold me to account. On the question of Mudua Police Station, first of all, let me thank my friend Honorable KJ, because, Mr. Speaker, we are both sports enthusiasts. And so he's reminding me of my short stint in the sports sector, and maybe use that opportunity to tell him that he should help us to make sure that the fans on Sunday will, as much as possible, obey the CAF rules, because we love football. And I'm very happy with the work that was done by Honorable Ababu and what is being done by Honorable Mvurya going forward. Mr. Speaker, on the police station, I think I want to promise the Honorable Member that this is, once you've built a police station and it is available for us to support and deploy police officers, although we are facing strength challenges as we wait for the recruitment, we can have a conversation together, and we can facilitate a conversation between you and the office of the IG to see if we can make some deployment to that police station so that it can support the Dagoretti area, Dagoretti police station area. Kingongo, is it? Yes, the Kingongo area, Mr. Speaker, for the time being, because what people don't know, and I wonder why, at many times, human rights activists and many people are questioning police officers. They're not talking about these things. The Dagoretti police station, when it was banned, the police line was banned, where police officers were living with their families. And everything they had was razed down. In fact, most of the police officers jumped the fence, behind the fence there, and they were rescued by community on the other side and protected. Mr. Speaker, therefore, most of those police officers are traumatized. We had to take them for counseling and give them a break. Mr. Speaker, I know then the jurisdiction that was being covered by that police station is now void. And we can work together with the Member of Parliament from Dagoretti, even though the other side is Kikuyu constituency in Kiambu County. Police officers don't have to have county boundaries if they are enforcing the law to make sure that they protect the people. So we can have that conversation with the IG and support Honorable KJ upon completion of my presence here. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Mukunji has raised an issue that is personal to him on a matter that is alive in court. Mr. Speaker, I am very restrained to say much because I am sure that Honorable Mukunji understands that I am not the judge, and he has a choice to either prosecute his case here in Parliament or prosecute it in a court of law, and therefore opening a gun of worms can possibly, Mr. Speaker, prejudice the trial, which involves fair trial on his part. But suffice to note, Mr. Speaker, that the National Police Service do not arrest anyone for political reasons, because the IG is not a politician. Neither is the DCI a politician, nor the National Police Service is not a political party. So, Mr. Speaker, there is no political scores to be settled. Mr. Speaker, they just do their job independently and constitutionally to make sure that, Mr. Speaker, the people of Kenya are protected. No, Mr. Speaker, I am sufficiently informed, Mr. Speaker, and as per the standing orders, yes, I cannot be informed.
You are not a debater in this House.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Yes. Mr. Speaker, lastly is to say that, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, what's your point of order?
Is the minister in order to say policemen don't arrest politicians, while in last Parliament, it is clear and he's on record crying that he was being harassed by the regime then at that time, and that his people then were being harassed and arrested by policemen. Is he in order, Honorable Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary is not here as a former senator. He is here in his capacity as the Cabinet Secretary. So, Mr. Speaker, and I'm not here to answer my own questions. I ask questions that are asked by the Cabinet Secretaries. Mr. Speaker, and so I am...
Leave history to history books.
Yes, so we've come through all that, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, just to use that opportunity, without really delving to the case of Honorable Mukunji, to remind the House that, Mr. Speaker, Prevention of Terrorism Act in section 3? Sorry, I had to Google because I was not prepared for it. Section 2, Mr. Speaker, on the part of definitions, define a terrorism act, Mr. Speaker, to be one, it says, means an act or a threat of action which involves the use of violence against a person, endangers the life of a person other than the person committing the action, creates a serious risk to the health and safety of the public or section of the public, result in serious damage to property, involves the use of firearm or explosives, involves the release of any dangerous, hazardous, toxic, or radioactive substance or microbial or other biological agent or toxin into the environment, interference with an electronic system resulting in the disruption of a provision of communication, financial, transport or other essential services, interference of and disrupt the provision of essential or emergent service, Mr. Speaker, like the medical case in Kitengela, interference or disrupt its provisions of essential or emergent services, prejudices national security or public safety. So, Mr. Speaker, it's in black and white. If your acts in any way involve use of force or violence, it is enough for you to be charged for terror. And, Mr. Speaker, you don't have to be Osama bin Laden to be a terrorist. It's enough, Mr. Speaker, once you invade a police station, ban a court, ban a supermarket, Mr. Speaker, ban government installation, create fear, use, Mr. Speaker, the opportunity you have to disrupt emergency services like medical services, transport, you are a terrorist. And so, Mr. Speaker, what's only remaining is to go through court process to find out whether Honorable Mukunji is culpable. Otherwise, the acts on their own, Mr. Speaker, especially financing, is even more serious, Mr. Speaker, if you are involved in it. And, Mr. Speaker, it is laughable. These things are laughable until the day of conviction. You know, it's still jokes until, Mr. Speaker, when you are convicted of terror, then you realize the consequences that brings to you as a person and, Mr. Speaker, your loved ones or any other person associated to you. So, Mr. Speaker, I wish my friend the very best. When I met him first when he came to Parliament, he looked like a pastor, Mr. Speaker. I was then surprised that he was suspected of such very serious and heinous acts. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mark Mwenje.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to ask question 9 of 2025. Could the Cabinet Secretary explain the circumstances, explain the circumstances that led to the death of Mr. Brian Luca Minor of ID number 330372236, who lost his life during the recent demonstrations of 25th June 2025 and was reported at Murkomen Police Station under OB number 20/26/6/2025. 2, state the measures put in place to ensure the family of the victim is compensated for the loss of their kin. And 3, outline the steps taken by the government to prevent similar incidents from occurring in the future and to guarantee safety, including protection of peaceful protesters during demonstrations. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to respond as follows. Regarding the circumstances that led to the death of Brian Luca Minor of ID number 330372236, who lost his life during the recent demonstrations, Mr. Speaker, Lydia Waithera, also known as Lydia Njoki Nduta, a resident of the KCC area, reported at Murkomen Police Station via OB number 20/26/6/2025 that her husband, Brian Luca Minor, deceased, left their residence on 25th of June 2025 at around 9 a.m. for Charina Stage, where he worked as a Kamangira, otherwise a tout actually, otherwise known as Kamangira. The deceased returned home at about 10 a.m. and handed her Kenya shillings 400, besides informing her that he was proceeding to the Central Business District to participate in demonstrations. Later that day, at about 3 p.m., the deceased was escorted home by his friend Brian Kiiga Mbugwa, who informed their wife that they had been among thousands of demonstrators at the CBD when the deceased was injured. There were, however, no visible injuries and Brian could not provide further details regarding the circumstances under which the deceased sustained the alleged injuries. The deceased complained of a severe headache, and at about 5 p.m., the headache persisted and he was therefore taken to Silent Hill Hospital within KCC area. Upon examination, he was referred to Metropolitan Hospital in Buruburu for a head CT scan. He was later returned to Silent Hill Hospital after the scan, but was pronounced dead upon arrival. DCI officers from Dandora commenced investigation into the incident via Molem Police Station Inquest number 4 of 2025. A request for a post-mortem examination was made to Kenyatta University Referral Hospital, where the body was preserved. The post-mortem was conducted on 27th of June 2025 by Dr. Ndekwa PM, who concluded that the cause of death was craniovertebral injuries due to severe blunt force trauma. Investigations are ongoing to unravel the circumstances of the injuries and possible suspects. Mr. Speaker, on measures put in place to ensure that the family of the victim is compensated for the loss of their kin, Mr. Speaker, the government has established, and that was the most recent, a formal mechanism to coordinate compensation for victims of demonstrations and riots held across the country. This presidential initiative will be coordinated by the Office of the President and will be supported by the Ministry of Interior, National Administration, and the Office of the Attorney General. Mr. Speaker, regarding the steps taken by the government to prevent similar incidents from occurring in the future and to guarantee safety, including protection of peaceful protesters during demonstrations. Mr. Speaker, let me first say, every time we come and read such stories, Mr. Speaker, it's not just a story. There are people behind it. There are families, wives, children, mothers, fathers, uncles, aunties, and so many other relatives and community. Mr. Speaker, it's very painful and very sometimes demoralizing to keep reading such kind of unfortunate deaths. And so, Mr. Speaker, it's important for us to even ask ourselves as Parliament, is it possible, Mr. Speaker, going forward, to have possible proper, coordinated, legally regulated protests so that, Mr. Speaker, we have processes that are regulated, the place, the time, and then we can provide resources, including police officers, to escort people. Can we, for once, have maandamano that ends up with shaking hands between police and citizens as they go home? It doesn't matter who was in office. The overall party leader of Honorable Mbui, who had asked a question earlier, was in the same post, was a president just the other day. And Mr. Speaker, it didn't matter the side where we were or where the others are at the moment. Can we, for once, as an entire parliament and political, in a bipartisan manner, find ways of ensuring that protests can be peaceful in Kenya? That's all that really bothers me every day. Because, Mr. Speaker, let me say that police officers are not politicians. They are not pursuing a particular political agenda. But every time protests happen, they are the ones who are the most discussed. They are the ones who find themselves, they have committed offenses or suspected to commit offense. They are tired. They have to be in the streets for over 24 hours. Mr. Speaker, innocent young people are also finding the loss of life. Children are left fatherless. Mr. Speaker, it is not acceptable. We just have to agree as a nation, somehow, in a bipartisan manner, that we can find a mechanism that makes protests peaceful. Mr. Speaker, and every time, what pains us from even the ministry is every time we announce that whoever is preparing protests to tell us the time and the route, we are the same people who are elected who go public and say that our right cannot be regulated. We'll protest anywhere, anytime, the way we want. But, Mr. Speaker, neither us nor our children get injured in this protest. So, Mr. Speaker, we just have to think about how best we are going to deal with this issue. Of course, apart from an exception of Honorable Mbui and a few others, Mr. Speaker, I know that's where Honorable Mbui was going to go, whom I sympathize with the situation he went through last time. But in most cases, it is the poor people who end up fatherless and suffer. So, Mr. Speaker, the government remains committed to complying with existing laws governing public order management and adhering to policy directives on the use of force through the following measures. 1, continuous training and professional development programs for police officers, which focuses on evolving trends, specialized techniques for riot management and other relevant areas to enhance operational effectiveness during demonstrations. 2, utilization of tools such as CCTV, surveillance, drone monitoring, digital communication system, and incidental mapping to monitor crowds, track real threats to real times, and coordinate timely interventions. thereby improving the effectiveness of law enforcement during protests. Even as the National Police Service prepared the same, I want to thank businesses across the country who have installed their own CCTVs. Because of the 1,500 people arrested, Mr. Speaker, most of them was as a result of CCTV cameras that are privately owned that helped us to see the people went to loot supermarkets, the people who, Mr. Speaker, committed certain offenses. Of course, media also helped, and filming by citizens, including the incident which I will answer later, that involved a young man who was shot, Mr. Speaker, unarmed. So the presence of technology can be of great help. Mr. Speaker, engagement with community leaders like civil society organization, Murkomen initiatives to also ensure that there is an early warning systems, issuance of advanced public advisories and use of media engagement to promote peaceful demonstration and warn against unlawful activities. We've been engaging the media to also exercise a lot of restraint and become responsible when they're reporting. Use of advanced, leveraging real-time intelligence, informer networks and surveillance systems to identify planned disturbances and criminal actors before mobilization, arresting and prosecuting persons who engage in criminal activities that undermine law and order, including the planners and the financiers. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I thank the Cabinet Secretary for his response. Although, Honourable Speaker, there is an assumption that all victims of police brutality they died by either a bullet. And Honourable Speaker, my follow-up supplementary would be for the Cabinet Secretary to just confirm that it is true there are youths who died during the protests, and whether some of them died as a result of beatings. And here in Nairobi, Honourable Speaker, the police, and there was a special unit of goons who are operating with the police, and unfortunately this team beat some of these youths, and Brian, one of the youths who, there was a video even in town of him protesting at the time, and he's one of the youths who were beaten by the police and unfortunately died painfully much later in the day, Honourable Speaker. So we just want him to confirm that these are one of the victims who will also get compensation at the right time. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I just wish to ask the Cabinet Secretary to what measures is put in place to ensure the National Police Service or the police adhere to High Court judgment or directive that required any policeman assigned for purposes of riots or demonstration should be easily identifiable. That's by name, they have a tag, they don't put on masks to conceal their faces, they don't put hoods to conceal their identity, and their uniform. Because, Honourable Speaker, we have seen so many plainclothes people, nobody knows whether they are security men or they are hooligans or the terrorists, as he calls them, working hand in hand with the police. And they are responsible for most of the deaths and the injuries to innocent demonstrators. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you to the CS.
Sorry, I thought you said Waziri.
My name is anonymous to Waziri, so sorry. Thank you, Speaker, for giving me the chance to ask, and thank you to the CS. I'm happy that you are going to compensate the victims. Matu lost 2 lives. But my question, what about those who lost properties? So can you clarify whether you are going to compensate those who lost properties? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Could the Cabinet Secretary confirm to the House that the compensation mechanism that has been established will also cover police officers who were injured during the demonstrations, but also that the list of the civilians who will be compensated will be prepared largely by non-governmental organizations such as Independent Medical Legal Unit, Voice Africa, Kenya National Human Rights Commission, so that there is no discrimination among those who are to be compensated. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, first let me say, yes, there are people who died in the demonstrations, not as a result of bullets, Mr. Speaker, but different injuries. You remember that, Mr. Speaker, there were all kinds of hooligans who are carrying stones, some machetes, Mr. Speaker, others they had rungus and all kind of crude weapons. So, Mr. Speaker, that is what makes it very difficult to know whether this very gentleman was injured by a police officer or a civilian. Mr. Speaker, there is no civilian wing of police officers. There is no wing of police officers that are goons that were working with police. I shall be responding to another statement in relation to the same. And, Mr. Speaker, we are making it very clear, Mr. Speaker, that the police officers find themselves sometimes in between two warring demonstrating groups, some saying we are for peace, some saying we are protecting our property, and so forth. And so, Mr. Speaker, police officers are only those police officers who are gazetted and are properly appointed to serve as police officers in the Republic of Kenya. Again, I insist that, Mr. Speaker, any life lost is regrettable. None of us is here to celebrate. And, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't matter the circumstances under which life was lost. Assuming even he was a robber and he died, it doesn't make us to celebrate. It's still a loss of life. So, because, Mr. Speaker, if it was possible to arrest that robber, maybe he would change its ways and he would be a different person. So there is no celebration of any loss of life on our part. It's just regrettable whether the person was committing an offense or not committing an offense. And it's therefore important for all of us. And remember that a child may be a robber, but the mother is not, the father is not, or their children are not, or their wife. And they still will miss a father or a child. So all those circumstances, if we apply compassion in all these cases, we'll appreciate that any loss of life is still painful to a person somewhere or a people somewhere. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of identification of police officers, Mr. Speaker, deployment for police officers to protest, there are different formations of police officers that are deployed, Mr. Speaker. So if you say a police officer should not wear a helmet, Mr. Speaker, for example, most of the police officers all over the world that are, Mr. Speaker, are deployed, they wear uniform, and their uniform is helmet. Mr. Speaker, helmet conceals a police officer more than a mask. So the order from from any court that says that all police officers should wear their uniform, then it is clear that when they wear the helmets, they are wearing their uniform. It's also clear that police officers who are serving as DCI do not have uniform. They are always on civilian. And they are all deployed to go to the protest because they must be immediately collecting evidence of any incidents that are happening. They don't have to wait until an incident happens, and they are deployed to be part and parcel of that protest. So, Mr. Speaker, all the protests that have been deployed in Kenya, at least to the best of my knowledge, especially for the time I've been in office, have been done according to the police standing orders and according to the law. And, Mr. Speaker, nothing has gone or breached the provisions of the law. Mr. Speaker, in also, just for you to
Minister, you seem to be importing a new word into the description in the Constitution. Article 37, and we wrote it at Bomas, talks of assemble, demonstrate, picket, and present petitions. Where are you getting protest from? Because a demonstration is not necessarily a protest.
Mr. Speaker, the English definition of protest, Mr. Speaker, would include picketing and demonstrations, if I am not wrong. And, Mr. Speaker, if we have to stick to Article 37, then I can say demonstrations. Yeah. But sometimes what we witness in Kenya are not necessarily demonstrations.
Because the moment it becomes a riot, it ceases to be a demonstration.
Yes, yes. Protest may not be negative, but when it becomes riots, Mr. Speaker, definitely they cease to be constitutional. And in most cases, they're not. They are always riots, Mr. Speaker. Starts as demonstrations, and at some point they are taken over by riots. Mr. Speaker, I was at the stage of identification. So just to conclude, Mr. Speaker, deployment of police officers, I know that sometimes there have been judicial overreach, and they say when you deploy police officers to any operations, they must be seen, identification, and cover themselves, because the judge who is making that decision is making it at a comfort in his office in Milimani with air condition. But when you deploy our police officers to Liboi, Mr. Speaker, or to somewhere in Kibish, or somewhere in Lamu or Kiunga, Mr. Speaker, there are many, many other things we do that are supposed to protect our police officers. So it's not a straitjacket thing. And sometimes courts make decisions that they cannot enforce, because someone is saying you dress in a particular manner, but the police officer will not be there when the judge is not going to be there when the police are fighting Al-Shabaab to monitor how they will dress and how they will look like. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a sensitive area, and I have always insisted that across the arms of government, there must be an understanding of what is called national interest that is beyond our sectarian competition or political competition that we have. Mr. Speaker, on compensation of loss of property, at the moment, the directive of His Excellency the President in establishing this compensatory mechanism does not include compensation for property. And I think that is for good cause, Mr. Speaker, because if you were to value the property that is destroyed, even as a supermarket like the one in Meru alone, or the looting that happened in OTC, and the whole destruction, it would take the entire budget, perhaps, Mr. Speaker, of Ministry of Interior, for example, to compensate those people. And then we would be encouraging also goons and criminals to be destroying property, and then people are compensated. I think this is a mechanism out of compassion that His Excellency is putting in place to just look at the loss of life. And you can never compensate life. I think even the word compensate is a compassionate support, if you may ask me, because there's nothing, no amount of money can bring back life or can be equated to life by any family. So maybe let me tie together that with what Honorable Karoli Omondi raised, Mr. Speaker, concerning the mechanism of that compensation. First, let me confirm that this includes the police officers. So police officers who have also got injured or died in the course of these incidences and protests, Mr. Speaker, from 2017 would also be part and parcel of this team to be compensated. And it is the Office of the President, his advisor on constitutional affairs and human rights, Professor Makao Mutua, who will coordinate the rest of the team to establish a fair mechanism of identifying the victims. And Mr. Speaker, I don't think it's an easy job. So he has to consult all these institutions as has been raised by Honorable Karoli Omondi. And considering the background of Professor Makao Mutua, I have no doubt in my mind that his experience in the civil society will come in handy in consulting those institutions and people who have suffered. Let's not assume it's going to be an easy task, especially in a country that when you compensate IDPs, a new set of IDPs come up. And I know cases where even when you complete one government, finishes IDPs, another government, gets another petition of IDPs. So we have to be very strict in this sense so that we don't make a mockery of such a very important and noble idea. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Wamshomba. Gadoni Wamshomba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration to provide a report on the total number of female bodies recovered from Kware dam site in Embakasi, including an update on how many of the victims have been positively identified through forensic or DNA analysis. Clarify whether the investigations are still ongoing, considering that the main suspect escaped from police custody and the investigation into the case has somehow reportedly gone cold. State the specific steps undertaken by the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, the DCI, to progress the case, locate the suspect, or identify additional perpetrators. Clarify whether there are any new policies or protective interventions being implemented by the ministry to prevent future tragedies related to abductions and femicides, including steps taken to reassure affected communities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to respond as follows. First, regarding a report on the total number of female bodies recovered from the Kware dam site in Embakasi, Mr. Speaker, following public reports regarding the mysterious disappearance of people, the National Police Service commenced investigations into the matter. Homicide unit was deployed to Kware dam site in Embakasi after suspected luggage-wrapped sacks were sighted floating in stagnant Kware waters. Upon retrieval, the sacks were found to contain human remains. The operation, which spanned several days, resulted in the recovery of 17 packages containing dismembered human body parts. Most of the recovered bodies were in an advanced stage of decomposition and were preserved at the city mortuary, where post-mortem examinations were conducted on the body parts. Subsequent DNA analysis led to the positive identification of 5 of the victims, who were matched to their respective family members: Josephine Mulango Owino, Roslyn Moth Ongongo, Wilkista Ojambo Ososo, Christine Mwende Madina, and Rosemary Ojambo. Mr. Speaker, on whether the investigations are still ongoing, considering that the main suspect escaped from police custody, Mr. Speaker, through forensic analysis, Mr. Collins Jumaisi Halusa was positively identified as the prime suspect in the murders of our mentioned individuals. The suspect was arraigned before the Chief Magistrate Court at Makadara under criminal miscellaneous application number E861 2024 and detained for 30 days pending investigation, and he was remanded at Gigiri Police Station. On 20th August of 2024, the suspect escaped from custody, lawful custody at Gigiri Police Station. A warrant of arrest was issued against him, which remains in force. The Internal Affairs Unit launched an independent inquiry to establish the circumstances around the escape, and investigations are ongoing. Multi-agency operations are in progress to trace and apprehend the suspect so that he can be charged before the court of law. Regarding the specific steps undertaken by Directorate of Criminal Investigation to progress the case, locate the suspect, or identify additional perpetrators, Mr. Speaker, the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, in collaboration with other multi-agency security teams, is actively working to trace and apprehend the suspect. Members of the public are encouraged to share any relevant information, Mr. Speaker, with the police through the Fichua Kwa DCI number, toll-free number 0800 722 203, or via WhatsApp at 0709 570 000. On whether any new policies or protective interventions are being implemented, Mr. Speaker, the National Police Service is currently implementing recent policy directive issued by the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry for Interior and National Administration. These directives focus on strengthening security operations, enhancing public safety, and improving accountability in the handling of the cases such as abductions and femicide. Key measures include intensified security operations through increased deployment of officers to high-risk areas and enhancing night patrols and highway surveillance, enhanced investigative capacity to fast-track forensic and cyber crimes investigations, and train detectives on handling gender-based violence and abduction cases. Victim protection measures, including expansion of gender desks and 24-hour helplines for urgent reporting, and linking victims and families to psychosocial and legal support services. 4, strengthening oversight and accountability through enhanced collaboration with Independent Police Oversight Authority and Internal Affairs Unit of the National Police Service. And finally, community-centered policing, scaling up Nyumba Kumi initiative to improve local intelligence gathering and conducting regular community safety awareness forums, enhancing collaboration with the local community. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Honorable Mshomba.
Honorable Speaker, I have listened to what the Cabinet Secretary have to say concerning the cases of the ladies that he confirms that were properly matched with their relatives and they were confirmed that they were murdered by the suspect who disappeared. But Mr. Speaker, I refuse to sit in this house to listen to the Cabinet Secretary confirm that his ministry cannot be able to capture suspects who were previously under their arms and custody. I refuse to sit in this house, Mr. Speaker, to listen to that kind of an
You are
explanation.
already sitting in this house.
Yes, I'm refusing to listen to the answer he's giving. It is not right for the Cabinet Secretary to come to answer a question and tell us that the suspect disappeared and he's not giving us hope. Which hope is he telling the people, the victims? What hope is he promising? Is he telling us that we are going to wait for the suspect to disappear forever? It has been 3 months since the suspect disappeared, Mr. Speaker. Those are families that are paining, grieving loved ones. We watch on television bodies being retrieved from Kware, this dam site, Mr. Speaker. The minister cannot come here and tell us that he wants members of public to help him identify suspect who was previously in their custody. As a woman leader, as a mother of girls, I refuse to take that kind of an answer from the Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you. Yes, Lelmengit.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I would also want to thank the Honorable CS for articulating and giving answers and statements concerning our questions. My question is, Honorable Speaker, to the Honorable CS is, given that many who were demonstrating were youth voicing either their frustrations. Sorry?
We are way past that.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Honorable Speaker.
Being a first timer, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
When you joyride, you must be relevant to the question. But go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me rephrase my question again. Given that those who were demonstrating, Honorable Speaker, were mostly the youth who were voicing their frustrations and probably political frustrations, is the government open to structured dialogue with them so that we can avoid this menace in the future? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mama Nairobi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I think the CS needs to understand the pain that we're having as women when we see the number...
Hold on, Basaris. Take your seat. Honorable Mchomba, it is discourtesy to the House for you to ask a question being prosecuted now with supplementaries and then walk out. It is total discourtesy. Go back and take your seat. Order wa Mchomba. That question is dropped. Mother Wangari? Yes. Mother Wangari, honorable members, those kind of bravado and playing to the gallery does not help at all. I have brought here the minister for you to interrogate him. If the answer given to the question is inadequate, that's why I give you supplementaries, to probe even further and ask the minister. The same way we have had Robert Mbui, Mwenje, and others following up with questions. This is not a house for scoring bonga points politically. It's a house for representing your people. Yes, Owen.
Honorable Speaker, while I respect your advice on this, Honorable Speaker, but also this is a house of rules which everybody in this chamber must and should abide. Our standing orders are very clear that when you defy a speaker's ruling or order, there are consequences to it. Honorable Speaker, we learn through such things, and precedence is set through such. Honorable Speaker, I urge you to use your whip on this and show the power that resides in the seat of the Speaker as you sit on it. That this honorable member, as we all agree, must face the consequences of denying a Speaker. And therefore, I urge you, Honorable Speaker, that you use the standing orders and issue very stern action against this member, Honorable Speaker. That I request of you, so that other members do not emulate and do the same in the future.
Thank
Honorable
you.
Speaker.
I'll deal with it before the rise of the House. Mother Wangari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 12 of 2025. Could the Cabinet Secretary, number 1, explain the steps taken by the Ministry to investigate allegations of child sex trafficking in Maimahiu, Nakuru County, in light of the media expose released on 4th of August 2025, and clarify whether any arrests have been made? Sorry, Mr. Speaker, my machine is misbehaving. This machine. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I got it.
You can read
Thank
from
you.
the hard copy being handed
Thank
to
you,
you.
thank you, and thank you to the member of Molo, who is my neighbor and my friend, for assisting. Let me take it again, Mr. Speaker. Could the Cabinet Secretary, number 1, explain the steps taken by the Ministry to investigate allegations of child sex trafficking in Maimahiu, Nakuru County, in light of the media expose released on 4th of August 2025, and clarify whether any arrests have been made of the individuals implicated in the trafficking? Number 2, provide a report detailing the number of children being trafficked and explain why security agencies, including the Inspector General of Police, have failed to take immediate action on the matter. And finally, Mr. Speaker, state the measures in place to rescue and rehabilitate the affected children back to society, including steps taken to ensure their safety and psychosocial support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister. Minister.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to respond as follows. Regarding the steps being taken by the ministry to investigate allegations of child sex trafficking in Maimahiu, Nakuru County. Mr. Speaker, following allegations of trafficking in persons involving children for purpose of sexual exploitation in Maimahiu town, Nakuru County, through a viral BBC, just, Mr. Speaker, I don't know if it is with your indulgence. Anyway, I'll raise that later, now that you have consultation. Mr. Speaker, following the allegations of trafficking in persons involving children for purpose of sexual exploitation in Maimahiu town, Nakuru County, through a viral BBC documentary, officers from anti-human trafficking and child protection units were deployed. On 6th August 2025, 4 witnesses were interviewed and their statements recorded. Neema, Selina, and Mary Nyambura Njeri, who had both been interviewed in the BBC documentary, posing as victims of child sexual exploitation, as well as Millicent Muturi Wairimu, the chairlady of commercial sex workers in Maimahiu Township, and Jane Wamuyu Kungu, caretaker of Tamasha Lodgings. The 4 stated that they had been approached by the BBC investigative journalists, who requested them to identify vulnerable girls aged between 17 and 21 years for a purported foreign sponsorship program. On 7th August 2025, the team summoned Lucy Njoroge, alias Baby Girl, a former commercial sex worker who now works with NGO called K-Note as a volunteer peer educator based on Karagita Health Center. Lucy had in the BBC documentary, Lucy had featured in the BBC documentary based at Karagita Health Center. I'll take that again, Mr. Speaker. Lucy had featured in the BBC documentary claiming to rescue and assist street girls and sex workers. She stated that she lives with 4 young women whom she rescued from the streets of Naivasha. Michelle Wanjiku, who is 20, Lilian Wairumu, 19, Elizabeth Nyambura, 24, and Mine Njeri, who is 22. All 4 were interviewed, their statements recorded, and copies of their identification documents were obtained. The investigators proceeded to Karagita Health Center, where KNOT operates an office used to store contraceptives and maintain related records. Lucy was confirmed to be a liaison officer between KNOT and the health facility. On 8th of August 2025, the team interviewed John Kamau Kinuthia, the Naivasha Sub-County Gender-Based Networking Cluster Coordinator, who collaborates with several organizations including Life Broom International, KNOT, Disability Resource Information Center, Naivasha Partners for Change, Young Men in Championing Ending Gender-Based Violence, and YMCA. He confirmed having introduced Lucy to the BBC officials. To date, 14 witnesses have been interviewed and their statements recorded with relevant documents obtained. All locations featured in the BBC documentary have been identified, visited, and documented by the crime scene investigation team. The BBC crew members have been identified as Njeri Mwangi, Stephen Ruiyi, Anthony Zipora Ndinda, Kagunda, Beth Wamboi Waidera, Anastasia, and Nick Milne, a foreign national. According to the witnesses, BBC representative promised substantial payments and lifestyle benefits to those who were involved. Investigations have further revealed that the documentary footage was recorded in Maimayu and Karagita. Witnesses were linked to one another in various capacities within the sex work community. Millicent Wairimu, the chairlady of commercial sex workers, confirmed that she had been approached by the individual known as Snorina, with whom she had previously worked at North Star, and thereafter introduced her fellow sex workers, Judith Wanjiru Njoroke, alias Chepto, and Caroline Kinyanjui, alias Nyambura, and Jane Wamuyu Kungu to the BBC team. Jane Wamuyu, upon learning of the arrangement, involved her daughter-in-law, Neema Selina, while Millicent also sourced 3 other girls, Faith Weta, Mary Njoki, and Faith Njeri. The Weta is, I'm sure. The Speaker.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with the Speaker.
Yeah, we are yet to confirm, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,
yes, TJ. Yes, TJ. Give him the mic.
Mr. Speaker, sir, is the minister in order to suggest that the Honorable Speaker, aka Papa Waroma, could be or is inferred to be a suspect? And is there active investigation going on in this matter, and how far the investigation has reached, Mr. Speaker, sir?
Mr. Speaker, whereas the Speaker, as the Speaker of this House, is not involved, we cannot confirm whether Faith Weta is related to the Speaker in any way. And it doesn't mean that there is any impropriety on his part. I'm just saying that this is a name. It could be from the same clan, neighborhood. He could have also, somebody could have named his daughter after the Speaker. But
there are very many people who have named their children after the Speaker.
After the Speaker, yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Out of admiration.
It is very important, Mr. Speaker, to clarify that it is only out of admiration. Now, Mr. Speaker, that is, let me take that again. So, Jane Wamuyu, upon learning of the arrangement, this arrangement involved, financial exchange and so forth. Jane Wamuyu, upon learning of the arrangement involved her daughter-in-law, Neema Selina, while Millicent also sourced 3 other girls, Faith Weta, Mary Njoki, and Faith Njeri, who is yet to be traced. Faith Njeri is yet to be traced. Lucy introduced 4 girls to BBC team. Alice Jambura Nyawira, Elias Naserian, stroke Elizabeth Nyambura, Mine Njeri, Lillian Wairimu, and Michelle Wanjiro. The investigation has established that the BBC team primarily sought underage girls involved in sex work. However, some of the girls allegedly falsified their age to qualify for the promised sponsorship. 2 women identified in the documentary as Cherop and Nyambura were confirmed to be Judith Nyambura Njoroge, a sex worker in Maimayu, for 2 months, and Caroline Kinyanjui, who had operated there for 2 years. 2 women portrayed in the documentary as child traffickers, identified as Judy and Caro, were reportedly promised significant sums of money and have since relocated to unknown locations. No arrests have been made so far, but investigations are ongoing, including obtaining financial records and call data to link all involved parties and tracing missing witnesses. Concerning reports detailing the number of children being trafficked, Mr. Speaker, the police, through anti-human trafficking and child protection units, commenced investigations immediately upon receiving the report. Several witnesses have since recorded their statements to assist the investigation to identify and rescue minors involved in the sexual exploitation scheme. Preliminary findings indicate that some of the girls interviewed by BBC falsified their age to qualify for the promised sponsorship, as the BBC team was interested in underage girls engaged in sex work. The matter remains under active investigations, and upon its conclusion, appropriate legal action will be taken against individuals found culpable of any offenses. Mr. Speaker, on measures put in place to rescue and rehabilitate affected children back to society. Mr. Speaker, there is no denying that cases of child sexual exploitation exist across the country, particularly along Northern Corridor, which serves as an international transport hub. While it's possible that the BBC crew aimed to shed light on these issues, it's now apparent that the documentary failed to meet the intended purpose due to falsified information from several interviewees. Although prostitution is illegal in Kenya, it remains widespread, with sex workers openly soliciting. Additionally, access to hotels and lodging facilities is largely unregulated, with inadequate measures in place to prevent minors from gaining entry. We have issued clear and firm directives to our security teams on the ground, including officers from the National Administration, to take decisive action against the child sexual exploitation and human trafficking across the country. Mr. Speaker, upon identification of victims, the government, in collaboration with other stakeholders, will implement the following measures to support and reintegrate children affected by abuse and human trafficking. 1, the Child Protection Unit will actively pursue a rescue of victims and facilitate the placement in safe environment, including private rescue centers, children's homes, and postal institutions where applicable. 2, the Children Protection Unit will provide psychosocial support services to address the emotional and mental well-being of the victims. 3, victims will be subjected to thorough medical examination and offered appropriate treatment to ensure their physical health and recovery. And finally, continuous follow-up and monitoring will be undertaken to ensure the safety and successful rehabilitation of the rescued children into the society. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I also want to note, Mr. Speaker, before I ask my follow-up question, that the Kewopa chair also raised this as a statement in the morning. And Mr. Speaker, what I would like to clarify from the CS is that this issue is not new. In Maimahiu, it is also in some areas in Kikope, it's also in some areas in Sachangwan, where we have long tracks.
It is along the entire Northern Corridor.
Yes. So it
all the way to Congo.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So the CS maybe can tell us, first of all, are you confirming that there were no underage children that were actually for real in this trade? And secondly, there were some women, specifically 2, who had been implicated in that expose. Have they been arrested? It is very important. And finally, the issue of BBC payouts, Mr. Speaker, brings another issue of media ethics. If we have a reporter operating in this country and is using money to lure or get falsified information, what does that mean in terms of our law? So I would be interested to know, has any action been taken against these specific reporters if they for real falsified this information for the attraction or to make news or to make sensational news, Mr. Speaker? Thank you.
In fact, Minister, if you listen to that BBC so-called expose like I did, the purpose was not to bring any facts to the fore. The purpose was to besmirch the country. If you listen to it carefully, it was not meant to expose anything. It was meant to besmirch the country and more so an African person. Go on and respond to Agar. Sorry, Shakil, you want to joyride on that?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker. Next to me. Mr. Speaker, you rightly say that this, the expose has hidden, some hidden agenda. As APNAC, we had a conversation with the British High Commission, somebody from the British High Commission this afternoon. And one of the issues that raised to me was this issue as what are we doing about this particular purpose? And I was a little taken aback and I said, look, we have our security services. But the most important, Mr. Speaker, as we speak, I'm actually one of the male members of KEWEPA. But even in APNAC, we have this fallback by some Western powers who are now looking at us as if we are primitive. Well, I reminded that gentleman that there's a lot of sexual crime in the United Kingdom which we do not talk about. So I endorse what you have said, Mr. Speaker, and but we must really try and find those 2 people if they are really guilty and liable. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Speaker, let me say that we are confirming from this report that, Mr. Speaker, the entire report was fake because the people who were interviewed were not underage. And that's why, Mr. Speaker, I went the whole length to read their names, their pseudonyms, Mr. Speaker, and who they are, what they do, and why, what was the motivating factor when they were posing as children. Mr. Speaker, that is not, and this statement also is very clear. That is not to say there may be no cases of sexual exploitation of young people in the country. And Mr. Speaker, the security agencies, including the anti-trafficking unit, have done tremendous work since the days of Gilbert Dare, Mr. Speaker, among others, to make sure that these incidents are managed. But we still have cases of human trafficking, including those that come from neighboring countries passing through Kenya. Or, Mr. Speaker, young people that are being lured, they may be no underage, but being lured also for jobs abroad, and they suffer. And I answered questions in this chamber before relating especially young people from the northern part of the country. So that is not to say we are not grappling with issues of human trafficking, but as far as the BBC documentary is concerned, it was a hoax. It was, Mr. Speaker, planned, executed in a manner to portray that there were underage girls that were, going through sexual exploitation, while in reality the people who were playing the game knew that they were not. Now, on the part of BBC, insofar as media ethics is concerned, it remains at large there to know whether, the first question is, why would someone promise financial reward in case information is going to be shared? Was the financial reward intended to get a good story that can be aired by BBC and therefore improve the well-being of the reporter? Or was it also the financial reward was actually part of the tricks that were being used by BBC to see if they can find actual young children, Mr. Speaker. And that remains also to be unraveled through the investigations. And Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, the conclusions that were being made brings to question an international media house like BBC in terms of verifying their sources, Mr. Speaker, before airing such a very explosive story. Be it as it may, we continue to take seriously cases of gender-based violence, sexual exploitation, trafficking, and child trafficking and human trafficking generally. We take them seriously, Mr. Speaker, whether or not it was contained in the BBC documentary, because it's a human rights issue and it is organized transnational crime that we must deal with together. And we all know that there are actual challenges where children are trafficked. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't stop the fact that the Mai Mahiu incident, the BBC report was a hoax, does not mean that we sleep and don't do the job that we are expected to do. Mr. Speaker, what will be done? What about the people who are implicated in the documentary? Mr. Speaker, since then these were not children, Mr. Speaker, it becomes difficult to charge them or to take legal action against them, Mr. Speaker. However, investigation must go even further.
They have committed offenses, conspiracy to cause public despondency.
I'm just saying the people who are implicated by those in the documentary, by saying X and Y is involved in child trafficking. Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Chair. Speaker.
Sorry.
Yeah. My point of order, Speaker, will be on the penal code. Is very clear that profiteering at all is a crime. Specifically from soliciting for
procuring,
yes,
soliciting,
and profiteering, yes,
are criminal offenses.
Yes, so there are still enough grounds for the cabinet secretary or for the agencies to look for those specific women who have been actually interviewed. And if they gave false information, Mr. Speaker, they also should take action because they are also adding to what the BBC is doing.
I think we are very clear on that one, and we agree with the Honourable Member. I meant, and I thought I understood the question of Honourable Wangari to mean, what have we done to arrest those who were implicated in the documentary itself? You know, the documentary is mentioning names of certain people who are engaged in trafficking young girls for sexual exploitation. Mr. Speaker, and that's why I said, because the documentary itself is a hoax, then it's very difficult to charge the persons who have been implicated. However, there may be possibility that if you do the investigations about child abuse and trafficking and sexual exploitation, it may also be that it is true that those people have been mentioned. So the investigation will help us to understand whether those people, whether or not the documentary was a hoax, are also involved in child trafficking for sexual exploitation. Mr. Speaker, I beg to submit.
Honorable Oroni, I've noticed you on phone for the last 40 minutes. And your colleagues, the member for Nairobi, has been shifting seats 3 times to avoid your nuisance. You are out of order. You are at liberty to use the speaker's holding room behind here to go and make calls, or go to the lobby out there. As to the case of Honorable Wamchomba, in law we call it as to the case of Honorable Wamchomba, in law we call it we call it condemned in the face of the court. Condemned in the face of the court, not just condemned of court, condemned in the face of the court. And members, you all are witnesses to this. Under Standing Order 107A, as read with 1A and 3, and having been prompted by the Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Mchomba shall serve a suspension from the House of 20 days, excluding the recess days. And in those days, she will not be allowed to enter the precincts of Parliament or enjoy the facilities of Parliament, including the restaurants, the gym, and the office. And honorable members, you are distinguished elected people, representing people who send you here. There's no point filing questions for purposes of playing to the gallery and then defiantly walking away. You will not sit in the House, and you are sitting in the House. Those tantrums don't make this House look any better. And many times you have your children sitting in the gallery. You have your voters sitting in the gallery. We are relaying these proceedings live. If you can't respect your speaker in this House, who else will you respect? The next question, CS Honorable Tienda Molo, I'm aware is leading our football team to play with governors in Homa Bay during the conference, so we'll stay the question until next time. He has not appointed anybody to ask for him. Next question, Esther Passaris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why the ministry is yet to implement the use of body-worn cameras for all police officers involved in arrests, interrogations, and custodial transfers of suspects? Could the Cabinet Secretary also provide clear timelines on when the ministry intends to roll out the use of body-worn cameras across all police operations? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence and permission, yes. I just want, for avoidance of doubt, so that it doesn't go to the public like we didn't have an answer on the quarry issue, to go on record that I had a follow-up answer based on the question that was raised.
You had, in fact, answered the question. It was at the supplementary level.
Even at the supplementary level, Mr. Speaker, yes. I was willing to supply more information based on
the question is dropped, so
what the honourable member had raised, so that it is clear that we are ready and to deal with this issue. And it was a subject of a very, very presidential task force inquiry that the President established in the Femicide Committee, and I wanted to inform the House. But be it as it may, it has been dropped. When the time comes, we will deal with it. Mr. Speaker, on the question of Honorable Passaris, Mr. Speaker, the use of body-worn cameras is critical in enhancing transparency and accountability in police operations. The Minister has come up with a modernization program aimed at upgrading its security equipment, like the digitization of police concurrence book and instant fines for motorists in phased rollout plan. Given the capital-intensive nature of the police modernization program and owing to the budgetary constraint, the Ministry is already engaging with key stakeholders to mobilize resources to support towards realization. Mr. Speaker, on the part of concerning the timelines, the Ministry continues to lobby for more budgetary allocation from the National Treasury and this House to meet its logistical and operational requirements. Once additional budgeted proposals are approved and funds are dispersed, the Ministry will implement the modernization of police equipment, including body-worn cameras, in a phased approach. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Passaris.
Mr. Speaker, I understand about the budgetary concerns, but when it comes to, if we can't roll out the body-worn cameras immediately, we do have a situation where it's not very clear, especially after what happened at Central Police. It's not very clear whether we have rolled out surveillance cameras in every police station in the country. If we have that, why was the one at Central Police not working when it should have been working?
Yes, Minister. Sorry, Owen Bayer on the same. You can joyride on that. And then Mukunji, then the Minister will answer.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, This Parliament, I initiated an amendment to the law to include body cam as one of those wearables for police officers, so that it is very definite of what it is, and that when it is in the law, then it guarantees that government will provide for it. But the response we got, and that's why the bill was dropped, was that it is already covered in the law. And I didn't dispute that. But, Honorable Speaker, as long as there is no statute that pushes that police officers must wear body cams, I don't think there'll be commitment to really actually buy this. I would like the Minister to agree with me that we introduce deliberately a clause in the Police Act that we introduce body cam as one of the wearables. Honorable Speaker, it covers two things. Many times police are falsely accused because there's no gadget that actually tells the story. And sometimes police, when they wear a body cam, like other jurisdictions like South Africa, like in the United States, where police actually wear body cams, it is easier to resolve some of the issues that we have that boil up to a point where we have demonstrations and killing of people and all that. And even during demonstration, we're going to cover a lot of issues, and court cases will be faster disposed when we have body cams worn by police, Honorable Speaker. I urge that the minister looks for, he be the first minister to actually introduce body cams in this country, so that we can avoid so many issues that come with policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just want to ask Honorable Speaker for the minister to take this matter seriously. And Honorable Speaker, I want to write this with even my experience while I was being arrested. But also, Honorable Speaker,
just avoid the temptation to use yourself as an example.
Yes, because I am out of that place. I'm heading to somewhere else. Honorable Speaker, currently, as we are speaking today, for the last 3 days, there has been clashes between Mbere and Embu people in a town called Siakago in Embu County. And also, this is being caused by the fact that there has been stealing of bodabodas, but there is an allegation of police officers taking bribes and allowing bodabodas to just disappear. Honorable Speaker, if we have gadgets that can be able, Honorable Speaker, to show what exactly the police are doing when they are doing their work, Honorable Speaker, I would really, Honorable Speaker, ask Waziri, because it is coming to now issue of ethnic clashes because of failure of security organs to do their work.
Thank you. Point made. Was it Minister?
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, let me say that I am a supporter of body-worn cameras, first of all, and technology has been ably pronounced by my friend Honorable Owen and Honorable Mukunji, my friends. Mr. Speaker, the body-worn cameras requires certain level of technology investments. Mr. Speaker, that is necessary for us to, it's not just one of those investments that will be standalone. It's the whole issue of modernization of the police service, particularly communication and for transparency. We have been grappling with that idea as to how best can we do this with the support of private sector. And we realize that most of the investment in the security sector does not have revenue raising, it does not lead to collection of revenue. However, Mr. Speaker, there is a planned program that is going on about instant fining system for the transport, which I left it being pushed from the transport sector, and now we are working together with the Ministry of Transport to make sure that it is realized. Mr. Speaker, we hope that the resources that will come from the instant fining, Mr. Speaker, the part that is shared to the National Police Service will be plowed back by investing in technology. And this is something that, Mr. Speaker, I am hoping to see in the next 2 years, that it is the instant fining system is implemented. Then we can raise the resources to make sure that we can invest in technology. Remember, it's not enough to have the camera, body-worn camera. There must be a command center. with the entire technology, with enough people to monitor, and perhaps you might even sometimes want to make sure that you decentralize it so that it is easy to monitor different parts of our country. Again, it's also a deterrence by itself. A police officer who is wearing a body cam knows for sure that he cannot take a bribe, Mr. Speaker. And it's not just the police officer, it will deter also the person who wants to bribe the police officer. Mr. Speaker, I remember saying this yesterday in after Jukwaa la Usalama in Nakuru, that we often just talk about the responsibility that the police officer has, Mr. Speaker, in terms of fighting corruption. But that traffic police officer, Mr. Speaker, who is led into temptation by this business mogul, Mr. Speaker, who is driving on the road, that businessman must also be equally punished the same way the police officer is being punished.
Minister, are you sure they are tempted or they solicit?
Mr. Speaker, in some cases, in actually many cases, we overspeed, and because we know we oversped, before the police officer even approach your vehicle, you're already holding your hand with something to give the police officer. And in some instances, it is the police officer also is walking to you, and they have an arrangement with the matatu people who already just presents their hand to be given something. So this thing, you can't blame one side alone. It's a society problem that we must deal with. Mr. Speaker, people just pay bribes because they have not committed an offense, but they don't like the inconvenience of going through a court, Mr. Speaker, to be clear, through a court process. So we need all of us. But these cameras will solve both the problem of the traffic officer and the person who wants to bribe the traffic officer, meaning many people also will abide by the law because they will realize that there is no room for them to bribe anyone. So I support it, and Mr. Speaker, I'll take it up. This is an innovation that we must continue taking up. The last thing is to pick from Honorable Mukunji. It is true that we have had an incident in the Siakago, Mr. Speaker, that involves two communities. That, Mr. Speaker, involves both the stealing of motorcycles, or alleged stealing of motorcycles, and also invasion of business premises and destruction of property. Mr. Speaker, the Inspector General of Police has deployed police officers to deal with this issue. There was allegations that because of inherent conflict of interest among some of the police officers, even when they have not committed anything, Mr. Speaker, if you come from one of the communities, you become suspicious, the people become suspicious that you will side with one of the warring communities. And so, Mr. Speaker, the Inspector General of Police has made changes, not to punish the officers, but to restore confidence among the local communities, both communities, to ensure that justice will be done and they will be protected. This is a live matter that we are dealing with, and it's not just in that situation. In many other situations, Mr. Speaker, body-worn cameras may be useful to avert laxity on the part of police officers. I thank you.
Next question
and
by
Mr. Speaker,
Millie.
if I may say, Mr. Speaker, I would encourage Honorable Mukunji, next time we have Jukwaa la Usalama in his county, he can attend. It's a free forum for us to solve those local problems. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The next question by Honorable Millie Odhiambo will be stayed to the next time. She's away in Homa Bay hosting the devolution conference. James Nyikal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 066 of 2025. The Cabinet Secretary to clarify whether the National Police Service undertakes psychological and mental health assessment during recruitment of police officers, including whether police officers recently recruited have undergone such evaluation. And two, Mr. Speaker, provide details on the psychological, mental health, and behavioral adaptation components incorporated in police training curriculum, and indicate whether the curriculum promotes a punitive and adversarial approach towards the public rather than a rehabilitative and correctional approach. And three, Mr. Speaker, state the measures put in place to ensure continuous assessment of the psychological and mental well-being of police officers, particularly with regard to their fitness to perform policing duties. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The service undertakes medical examination for potential recruits, which include psychological evaluation, mental health assessment, and aptitude test. The psychological evaluation process entails screening for emotional stability, stress tolerance, personality traits, and behavioral risk factors. Aptitude test, conducted as part of the same framework, assess critical cognitive skills such as reasoning, memory, and decision-making capacity, of all which are essential for the effective discharge of police service. Mr. Speaker, on the second part, the National Police Service training curriculum has integrated psychological, mental health, and behavioral adaptation components into the following areas. One, the National Police Service training curriculum incorporates stress management content across all levels of training and ranks. These modules aim to build psychological resilience and help officers cope effectively with the emotional demands of policing. Strategic management and leadership courses embed emotional intelligence training to enhance senior officers' capacity to understand and regulate their emotions, demonstrate empathy, and engage in constructive interpersonal communication. This supports better making and conflict environment resolution in high-pressure environment. Officers' wellness and resilience programs are actively provided to all serving officers. These initiatives are implemented in collaboration with specialized institutions such as Chiromo Hospital Group and Amani Counseling Center and Training Institute. The programs include psychological support, counseling, and wellness education to promote mental well-being and prevent burnout. The curriculum is designed to strike a balance between punitive, adversarial, and rehabilitative correctional approaches to policing, depending on the nature of the situation and the operational demands as follows. One, punitive and adversarial components are emphasized in units such as drill, skill at arms, fieldcraft, and physical training. These subjects prepare officers to maintain discipline, enforce lawful authority, and exercise effective command and control. They are critical for managing high-risk situations such as effective arrests, dispersing violent crowds, and neutralizing terrorist threats. These units help instill a warrior mindset when dealing with hostile or dangerous circumstances where officers and public safety are paramount. Rehabilitative and correctional approaches are integrated in subjects like community policing, community communication skills, first aid, and human rights training. These subjects are mandatory across all the training levels, from basic recruit training to command and leadership courses for senior officers. The units emphasize empathy, trust building, and seeing members of the public as partners in crime prevention and safety. Officers are trained to adopt proactive, solution-oriented strategies such as diversion, conflict mediation, and non-coercive methods to gain compliance. These courses promote a guardian mindset which reflects a commitment to ethical policing, public service, and the protection of human dignity. On measures put in place to ensure continuous assessment of the psychological and mental well-being of officers, Mr. Speaker, the following measures have been put in place to ensure continuous assessment of the psychological and mental well-being of the officers. Number one is the institutionalized periodic psychological evaluation for officers. This screening helps detect early signs of stress, trauma, or mental health challenges, especially after critical deployment or, Mr. Speaker, critical incidents or deployments. Two, developed a mental health and wellness policy which guides the implementation of psychosocial interventions, confidentiality protocols, referral pathways, and reintegration of officers after treatment. Psychologists, counselors, and social workers have been deployed to major police stations and formations countrywide. This ensures that officers can access on-site, timely counseling services without having to be referred to externally unless it is extremely necessary. Introduced peer support networks where trained officers offer mental health, first aid, and psychosocial support to their colleagues. These peer supporters are trained to identify signs of distress, provide initial support, and refer cases needing professional help. 5, officers involved in distressing operations such as shooting incidents and terror-related incidents are subjected to immediate psychological debriefing. This helps in processing trauma, preventing post-traumatic stress disorder, and promoting emotional recovery. 6, to promote holistic well-being, officers are encouraged to participate in wellness activities such as physical fitness, routines, guided meditation, team-building exercises, and spiritual retreats organized by Directorate of Chaplaincy and Counseling. 7, confidential reporting channels have been established for officers to seek help without fear of stigma. Some stations have designated safe spaces for counseling and mental health check-ins. 8, recognize the impact of police work on families. The government has introduced family counseling and outreach programs. This involves spouses and children in the healing and support process and help reduce domestic tensions and emotional stresses. Finally, number 9, for officers who have been on medical or psychological leave, reintegration program help them transition back to duty safely and effectively. This includes step-by-step assessment, mentorship, and support from peer teams and psychologists. I thank you.
Yes, Dr. Nyikal, that's satisfactory.